One of the things we're going to be doing is the game day experience, where you take people to watch a game, their favourite team, mic them up and just see how it works. So for the first one of the year, we're going to do Molly Meldrum, and I took him the other night to the World Club Challenge, but in the afternoon I went over to Molly's house and interviewed him. And when you go to Molly's house, you get an idea of he's not just a Storm fan. I'm talking he's obsessed.
Yeah.
The front the front wall of his house, it's just like Cooper Cronk, I still love you, Will Chambers, you're the best, and all the stats, all the premierships, everything's on the wall.
Professionally sort of like an artist has put it up
Gets
on the
person over
on the bricks
and does it. So I went over and saw Molly. On the way over, I was trying to think of some things I knew about Molly, and one was the fact that he enjoys a drink. So I rang Molly and I said, "Mate, what are you drinking?"
Well, obviously the drink, the Molly, was what we got onto for a little while, which is vodka and Fanta.
Yeah.
Yes, which is a great drink, but unfortunately it gives you early onset diabetes. But no, and I said, "What are you drinking, Molly?" And he said, "Champagne and Red Bull."
Together?
Combo.
Well.
Or you chase with the Red Bull after a glass of the bubbles?
We didn't quite get to that. I said, look, I'll have a champagne. I'll leave the Red Bull alone. But you go into Molly's, and just quickly, what a champion. He is the guru. You go in there and he's such a great character, and he's such great fun and well-meaning. He just opens the door, come in, look, Molly, do you mind if we just film some stuff? He said, go for it, film everything. And you walk into the house, and the whole interior of the house is purple.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Yep.
So that's changed because I think it was yellow for a time.
He was St Kilda all through and through. The St Kilda sort of element shrunk. I said, why is that, Molly? He said, we're not winning comps.
No, they're going bad. So.
One since
But even his
66,
dog, Ziggy, was like dressed in Storm colours and everything in there.
He's in a little outfit. Oh, that's cute.
And it's fantastic. And you walked in and we sat down. I started to talk about like the Storm. But the first thing I had to ask, I said, Molly, being in this house, it's a house I've heard so much about. I said, wow, what about the people you've had in here? And he told me he said we had a party once. And he said we had Tom Petty, Cyndi Lauper, Cher, Madonna, Stevie Nicks.
All in the house?
Yeah,
all at the one time.
All there having a party.
Oh,
and he
my
said
goodness
there was
gracious.
a knock on the door, answered the door, and there's Lauren Bacall and Bob Dylan.
No.
So knocking on Molly's door. Anyway, there was a bit we got into in the and he was so great through talking about the Storm players he loved, his affection for Greg Inglis, how much it broke his heart when he went to South, Cooper. And then he got onto, I asked him a story, because I remember watching the Melbourne Storm played the Warriors once, and it was about 2 or 3 days after Prince had passed away.
Yeah.
And I said to Molly, did you have your fingerprints on this? Because when they scored the first try of the Storm, they played Purple Rain.
Yes.
And then after every try, there was 1999 and everything. And Molly whirled up and he said, I was really good friends with Prince. And I went to the Storm and I said, could you do this? And they said, absolutely, we're going to do this.
How good's that?
And it was really good. And he said, and you'd say things to Molly which would spark his sort of memory and go, oh, yes, and here's another story I got for you. And he told me, he said, a few years ago, he said, Prince came to the house and he said, I gave him a Melbourne Storm jersey. And he said, because the colour purple, the synchronicity.
Yeah.
And he said, he loved it. Prince loved it. And he said Prince, when I'd see Prince, he'd always wear the Melbourne Storm jersey, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. But I went to the game with Molly and it was just a joy sitting there with him and how much he loves the team. And it was
Who's his favourite player at the moment? Is it still Smith or?
He's Billy.
He loves Billy.
Yeah, loves
Is he
Billy.
knowledgeable too? Or is he
is.
just one of those mad fans that...
The history of Molly was that Molly when he said we used to shoot Countdown in Sydney a lot. He said, so I was a Cronulla Sharks fan. And he said, but when Melbourne Storm came in, he said, I'm a Melbourne boy. He said, I just fell in love with the team.
No
and
question.
went from there. An interesting thing after the game, I sent a text to Frank Panisi, the Melbourne Storm manager, to say thank you for setting it up. Molly was just unreal. He was a joy. And he texted back Matty, something very funny after the game. He said, we win 38-4, we go down the sheds. And he said, everyone loves Molly. And he's just like, the boys love him and everything. And he said, but there was business first. And he said, Craig's standing in the middle, and Craig's Craig. They win 38-4, but Craig was like, hey, boys, very scratchy. These things we're going to work on. And Molly just went, Craig, stop. And he walks into the middle of the circle and he goes, Craig, look, the boys won 38-4. Can I just say something, Craig? You've got the most beautiful smile. You've got to use it more.
Did he?
That's great.